this video is for you is if you've done really well in your career. You're probably in a really senior job, you're doing fantastic. On paper, everything is amazing. Like they're going, wow, she's great at her job. He's brilliant at his job. He's doing great. But you're always on. You're quite stressed. You're quite tired. You're feeling, in a quiet moment, if you let yourself think, you're feeling on the edge of burnout. Is that you? Also for you is if you're doing really well in your job, really well in your career, or you're thinking, is there more to this? I don't feel like I'm enjoying it anymore. Again, in a quiet moment, I don't feel like my life is balanced. I feel like everything is work and I'm really achieving there, but what about the rest of my life? This video will share how to regulate your nervous system if you're in quite a senior, high up job, and yeah, a lot is demanded of you. So some credentials. I worked in corporate jobs, various different corporate jobs for over 20 years. Not going to date myself, but over 20 years, that's what I'm going to say. And I've seen a lot of things. And I've seen people, and I've done well. So lovely corporate job that I'm at the moment. Thank you very much. But I've seen people burn out. I genuinely have seen people burn out. I've seen people being really stressed. I've seen people have unbalanced lives. And this is going to sound like strange, but I think you can have it all, but you have to have some rules. You have to have some rules for your life. Then you can maintain the pace. You can be productive. You can be effective, but you can also have a full life outside of work and then come in and not burn out. So yeah, here's what's worked for me. Here's some tips that have worked for me. Have you ever heard the old fable about the man carrying the heavy load, and two men carrying heavy loads, and one had it on his back and he was just carrying it up the hill, up, and then halfway up the hill he just kind of like fell down. He was like, I can't do this anymore, I can't do this. Whereas the man beside him was the same heavy load, but every 2 minutes he was stopping, having a rest. Walk some more, carry the load, stopping, have a rest. He got up, he got the load to the top of the hill, and he did it several times and it was fine. So the main thing is take lots of breaks. It's a long game. Your career is a long game and you want to be there in 5 years, 10 years, 20 years time. You want to be healthy, you want to be fit. So actually to carry that load, cognitive load, you need to take lots of breaks and you need to mind yourself mentally, physically, emotionally. And if you do that, you're in it for the long game and you can be incredibly successful. So here's my rules. Log off, controversial one. So yes, there will be busy periods when there's a deadline, product launch, whatever it might be. And that's fine. Obviously you can't go, oh, I'm just logging off. Yeah, I'm fine. You've got to be there. You've got to work extra hours in those evenings. Sometimes you might have to work weekends. Okay, that's fine. But that can't be the norm. If that's carrying the heavy load every day. If that's the norm, you'll be fine for a few months. And again, I've seen this with my colleagues in the career. They're fine for a while. And then all of a sudden it's too much. They get ill, they get physically ill, they might get mentally ill. I remember in one company, was it about 10 years ago? And he was burnout, and he was, I can say, he was a production manager, because I'm not going to say any names. He was production manager, really, really good at what he did. And all of a sudden he was like, I'm not sleeping, I can't eat, I'm really stressed. And he had to just take a leave of absence. I actually don't know what happened to him, but he completely burnt out. And he just said, I need to figure out how to switch off. You don't want to get to that stage. Yeah. So log off in the evenings. Like I say, if there's a deadline, temporarily keep it going, work late those dates, work late maybe that weekend, but that cannot be the norm. Your norm is you do your hours, maybe do a bit extra if you need to, but you log off. You turn off your work phone, you turn off your work notifications. Off is off. You recharge in the evenings, you recharge at the weekends, and then you can carry that heavy load. That's you taking breaks. You can carry that heavy load for weeks, months, years, a career. You can carry a heavy load and you can carry very, very far. So log off in the evenings. I'm a great believer of lists. Now they're electronic lists, but at the start of the day, I generally say, well, what am I going to do today? And I just look up in my calendar and I think, well, what am I going to do today? And what do I want to achieve today? What's the important things that I want to achieve? Because you want to feel some what some kind of sense of satisfaction. So concentrate on what you really want to achieve that day. And then in that evening, I look back and think, well, how have I achieved that? And what do I want to achieve tomorrow? So, and that's a bit like logging off. So cognitively, I'm putting on a list. I'm putting this is what I'm going to do tomorrow. And then it's kind of out of my mind. And then when I log on in the morning, I'll go, oh, I'm doing this today. So it's kind of getting it out of your mind. So it's not on your mind in the evenings. You can literally switch off like you're logging off. So that's good. Prioritize is important. There's lots of check out YouTube. There's lots of videos on priorities, but the old ones sometimes the best. So what's urgent and what's important? You concentrate on what's urgent and important. Do that first. Then you'll do what's just important. And then if it's not important and it's not urgent, I don't know, you might get to it. You might not. Maybe you don't need to do it. You'll do it when you have some time. So yeah, prioritize and concentrate what's important. Yeah. Look after your mind, your body. So again, it's good. It's really good. I'd like to see this in corporate. Before, it was kind of like, you're kind of hippie trippy if you did breath work or if you did yoga or you did meditation. But it's a lot more acceptable now that we're a holistic person. We're physically, mentally, spiritually, we're a whole person. So look after yourself. So maybe do some yoga, do some meditation, maybe go for a walk at lunchtime around the block. If it's in an office, again, I've done many years and worked in offices. If it's around the block, get some fresh air, get some daylight, again, switch off. You'll come back to your desk so much more refreshed and so much more productive. Whereas if you work, I've seen this again, if you work right through your lunch, I call it, that's like busy work. You're just keeping going and it looks like you're getting stuff done, but actually you're not as effective. You're much more effective if you take the break and you come back and I actually find creatively, I get my ideas like, oh, this is what I'll do for that project. Oh, I better ring that person. And that's because I've taken the time and the ideas have literally dropped to my head when I've had the break from lunch, whatever. So yeah, look after yourself. It might be yoga, meditation, a walk, something. Yeah. Eat the right food. Again, try and eat healthy foods. It's all basic stuff, but try and eat healthy food and healthy snacks. Don't be cramming in on the unhealthy stuff like loads of caffeine, loads of unhealthy foods. Again, you can do that for a while. It's not sustainable. You're not going to feel good in the long term, and you're in the long game, right? We're going to have a fantastic career. Sleep, look after your sleep. Make sure you get enough sleep. That's right for you. I've kind of always thought this. I've got a funny story about this. Make sure you make time for focus work. And again, it's getting harder and harder. I've noticed the past few years, even more difficult because you've got notifications on your phone, you've got emails, and you're always like in and out. So what I try and do is when I've got deep work is I just kind of turn off the notifications, and just for a couple of hours, I will write that document, I will review that document, and I don't look at anything else, because all those interruptions, they break your concentration. You're not as effective. It takes I'd say 4 times, 5 times, 6 times, all those interruptions. So make sure you make time for deep focus work. All the distractions are off. So block it in your calendar. Don't look at your email. Don't look at your notifications. Yeah, block it in your calendar, and that really works. But yeah, so when I was, I mostly work from home these days, but when I used to go into the office and I led a team, I used to have to review big documents, and it was great leading a team, but literally there'd be a queue at my desk, and so I literally used to go sneak off. I used to go hide in the library, and I'd tell someone, I'd say, I'm in the library if you really need me. But then I'd spend a few hours reviewing the documents or writing the document, getting my deep work done, because I wasn't going to be effective with everyone just queuing up at my desk. So there'd be times where I would literally go hide so I could get my deep focus work done. Yeah, and that worked for me. I don't have to do it anymore because I work from home, so I can just turn off my notifications. So that works for the focus work. So yeah, sometimes, yeah, you're just not as effective if you're constantly interrupted and constantly distracted. So mind your energy and mind your concentration, and you'll get more done, more effective. Have other interests. So outside of work is lovely. I've loved working. Work has been my savior. I came from a dysfunctional family, and I started working at 15, and work and school are my safe place, my happy place. Love work, still love work, love being effective. Love working, love being effective still to this day. But you need to have a balance in your life. So make sure you have interests outside of work. Make sure you've got friends outside of work, ideally loved ones, hobbies, so that again, when you come back to work, it's not everything, and you kind of come back refreshed. And again, it genuinely works. You are more effective, you're more productive because you've taken a break. You'll have more ideas, you'll have more creative space. You will be better at your job. Sometimes you think, oh, it's a false economy, but no, you will be much better having a full, well-rounded life. And finally, remember the company doesn't love you. Yeah. And I kind of learned this lesson. When did I learn it? After the birth of, no, after the birth of my first child. I was in a lovely company on the career track. Everything was great. And then the timing was off. They just got rid of a senior level of management. And I was out that door. And it was kind of it was a harsh lesson, but it was kind of a good lesson, because I remember I was planning to go back from 3 months when my baby was 3 months old. I was like, oh, they really need me. And I remember one of the directors going, oh, when are you coming back? And I said, oh, they so need me. And oh, it's great. Then I was genuinely out the door a couple of months later. So it was a good lesson. And I ended up being off for a year on maternity leave. And we lived in Edinburgh, and we moved down to England to be closer to family and to have better career opportunities. But ever since then, it was a harsh lesson. I just realized companies don't love you. You're just a number. They'll kick you out. They don't need you. So family, friends, well-rounded life, so much more important. Don't get me wrong. I still love work. I'll still give it my all because I love achieving and all of that. Company doesn't love you. They will let you go at the drop of a hat if they need to. Nothing personal. So make sure you've got that full, well-rounded life, friends, family, interests to fall back on. Yeah, because that's kind of what counts at the end of the day, as well as being productive and effective in your job. I'd love to hear in the comments, how do you regulate your nervous system? How do you protect from burnout? How do you protect your energy? Any tips for anybody else that's watching the video? Please put it in the comments. Looking forward to seeing you in the next video.